Sparks filling in for Trey Harden this morning, ABC News correspondent. Good morning, Mary Alice Sparks.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. All right. Let's get right to it with this tax reform. What do we know, and when are we going to know it?
That's a good question. We know the president is on Capitol Hill today, meeting with lawmakers, really urging them to get moving and moving at a quicker pace. But lawmakers are pretty worried, actually, that the president could throw a wrench in some of their last-minute negotiations. We still don't have an actual bill, a real legislative text released yet to the public. They're still figuring out a lot of the details. So when exactly we'll know what it looks like is exactly the big question right now.
So we've heard they want to take away deductions, state and local taxes. It's in and then it's out. And now they're talking about tinkering with the 401k plan, which I can't imagine a lot of people would be happy with.
Right, which is part of the reason that the president seemed to nix that idea on Twitter yesterday, saying he would oppose any plan to limit what people could put in pre-tax to their retirement plans, exactly like you said. But, the Republicans know that right now they need to find a way to pay for some of this big cut. Right now, the big ticket items they know they want to do, really slashing the corporate tax rate, changing the individual tax brackets, will cost a tremendous amount of money to the federal government, somewhere between $1.5 trillion and $2.2 trillion. And if they don't find a way to offset some of that cost, they just can't pass it, according to some Senate rules, ways it has to fit into the budget. So they're looking for a way to make up some of that cost, but they need the president on board. They need some communication back and forth and an understanding of what exactly he'll sign.
It's really interesting. This is probably why they haven't released anything, because if you're going to give corporations a big tax cut, great, and you got to find the money elsewhere. Where are you going to find the money elsewhere if it's not on the rest of us? So it's an awful hard sell to say we're going to give corporations big tax cuts, but oh, by the way, your 401k, your taxes, your child credits, they all go away. So they really are putting businesses versus individuals.
I think that that's exactly the messaging argument that they're going to be up against. I mean, obviously, plenty of Republicans are really excited about the corporate tax cut. I mean, there's a big argument from the business community that it could help businesses grow, free up some of their capital. But you're exactly right, especially in this era, this political environment where you're dealing with a big businessman in the White House and a lot of his sort of businessman friends now in Washington. It makes messaging around any tax break that really benefits corporations first a hard political sell.
Where are we with the rest of everything? The budget, DACA, all the other things that have to be done by the end of the year?
Right now, we're looking at kind of sideways, four-sided 3D negotiating on Capitol Hill, because there are all these other issues on the table, like you said, DACA, immigration. They still want to get something done on health care. They have to pass a bill, an appropriations bill, by the beginning of December to even keep the lights on in the federal government. We're coming up against a debt ceiling limit once again. So when you have that many important pieces of legislation all on the table, it means that any one senator can have a lot more power, because they can say, I won't give you my tax reform vote unless you tweak something or promise something over in a totally different arena.
Mary Alice Parks, we had Roy Blunt, senator from Missouri, on the show a week or so ago, and he said that if tax breaks or tax cuts isn't done this year, he doesn't think they're going to be done through the midterm elections. Anybody else voicing that same concern, that if they're not done now, they're not done?
Absolutely. When you talk to people on Capitol Hill, there's sort of two schools of thought. One is exactly that. They have basically until the end of the year to pass big pieces of legislation, because otherwise, when they get back, the idea of getting full consensus in the Republican Party is going to be next to impossible, as folks are really just gearing up again for election season. I mean, every single member of the House swings back into political mode when you start getting halfway into 2018. On the other hand, there is another school of thought, which is saying that people know they cannot run for re-election if they haven't gotten something done. So actually having the 2018 midterms could be a motivating factor, because it's really hard to run as an incumbent if you haven't been able to pass any big bills.
Especially with your party owning every lever of government.
Exactly.
Mary Alice Parks, ABC News correspondent in Washington, reading the tea leaves for us. Mary, thanks for checking in.